My friends, allow me to tell you something that separates the successful from the defeated, the fulfilled from the forgotten, the men of destiny from the men of despair. It is not intelligence, for the world is filled with intelligent men who remain poor. It is not education, for countless scholars never rise above mediocrity. It is not even talent, for graveyards are crowded with men and women who carried talents they never used. The true difference, the eternal line that separates winners from losers, is this: those who succeed force themselves to act upon their imagination. Think for a moment about the dreams you carry in your heart. Perhaps it is a vision of financial independence, a desire to lead, a yearning to create, a hunger to leave a mark upon the earth. That vision is real. That dream is not foolish. That desire is not placed in your soul by accident. But as long as it remains only in your mind, it is a ghost, a shadow without flesh, a seed that has never touched the soil. Action is the only force that transforms imagination into reality. Builder may carry the image of a house in his head. He may sketch it on paper, admire its design, even speak of its beauty. But until he picks up his tools, lays the first brick, drives the first nail, that house remains nothing more than a picture. The world honors not the man who dreamed of a house, but the man who built it. And so it is with your life. The world will not pay you for what you imagine, but for what you do. Understand this truth: action gives form to thought. Action gives substance to desire. Action gives breath to dreams. It is the bridge by which the unseen becomes seen, by which the intangible becomes tangible, by which the invisible becomes visible. And you must be the one to cross that bridge, for no one can act in your place. Consider the farmer. He may look at his barren field and imagine golden crops waving in the sunlight. He may picture the harvest. He may dream of abundance. But if he never plants the seed, if he never tills the soil, if he never forces himself into the labor, the harvest will remain a fantasy. The law is eternal. What you refuse to act upon will rot inside you. Many men live their entire lives trapped in that prison of inaction. They say, someday I will start my business. Someday I will write that book. Someday I will live as I was meant to live. But someday is the word of the weak. Someday is the language of those who fear to act. And while they wait, years pass, opportunities fade, and life leaves them behind. But the man who forces himself to act, even when he trembles, even when he feels unprepared, even when he does not see the full path ahead, that man discovers power. For action is not only the bridge between imagination and reality, it is also the fire that lights the path. Each step reveals the next. Each movement strengthens the will. Each act gives birth to confidence. History is filled with men who dared to step forward while others waited. The great inventions, the great empires, the great works of art, none came from wishful thinking alone. They were born when a man forced himself to act upon his thought. The world you live in today, every building, every machine, every road, every comfort, was once nothing more than an idea in someone's mind. The difference between idea and reality was action. So I say to you, stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop telling yourself that you must first feel ready. Readiness is an illusion. The bridge to your dream will never appear complete. You must build it plank by plank, nail by nail, step by step. Force yourself onto that bridge. Move forward no matter how unsteady your step. For the man who acts will learn, the man who learns will grow, and the man who grows will conquer. Remember this eternal law. Thought is the seed, but action is the harvest. Imagination gives birth, but action raises the child. Desire sparks the fire, but action makes it burn. Your life will not be measured by the brilliance of your dreams, but by the courage of your deeds. Action is the bridge. Cross it, and the world will belong to you. My friends, one of the greatest deceptions of the human heart is the belief that we must feel like it before we act. How many dreams have died because a man waited for the perfect feeling? How many visions have withered because someone told himself, I'll begin when I feel motivated, when I feel confident, when I feel ready. But let me tell you a truth that will set you free. Feelings are fleeting, but results endure forever. Feelings are like the weather. Changing, unstable, beyond your control. One day you rise with fire in your heart, and the next you wake with heaviness in your bones. If you allow feelings to govern your actions, your life will be tossed around like a ship without a rudder. Some mornings you will move, other mornings you will stop, and in the end, inconsistency will rob you of destiny. But results are eternal. A book once written stands for generations, no matter what emotions the author felt as he struggled with the pen. A business once built feeds families for years, regardless of the sleepless nights, doubts, and fears that plagued its founder. A habit once mastered strengthens a man for a lifetime, even if it was forged in moments when he least felt like training himself. Understand this: the feelings that hold you back will fade, but the results of action remain. The pain of discipline is temporary, the pride of accomplishment is permanent. The discomfort of early mornings, long hours, and relentless effort lasts for a season, but the rewards of those efforts echo through the years. Think of the athlete who rises before dawn to train. Does he feel like stepping into the cold air, pushing his weary muscles, enduring the grind? Often no, but he forces himself because he understands that medals are not won by comfort. They are won by consistency. When he stands upon the podium, when the crowd cheers his name, when the record books remember him, his fatigue, his reluctance, his fleeting feelings are long forgotten. What remains is victory. Think of the student who burns the midnight oil to master his craft. Does she always feel inspired, motivated, full of energy? Of course not. Yet she presses forward. She forces herself to study, to discipline her mind, to conquer her doubts. Years later, when she becomes the master of her field, when she reaps the rewards of her diligence, does anyone ask her how she felt on the nights she wanted to quit? No one remembers. Even she will not remember the temporary feelings, but she will forever carry the results of her perseverance. Feelings are liars. They tell you, you're too tired, you're too weak, you're not ready. But results tell the truth. Results say, you are capable. You are stronger than you believed. You are the master of your fate. Which voice will you listen to? The passing whisper of your feelings, or the eternal testimony of your results? Do not be deceived into worshiping your emotions. Feelings are like smoke. They appear, they shift, they vanish. You cannot build a life on smoke, but you can build a kingdom on results. Results are stone. They do not move. They do not lie. They stand as monuments to your willpower long after your feelings have been forgotten. And here is the paradox. When you force yourself to act in spite of feelings, your feelings eventually follow. The man who begins his work, even in reluctance, soon finds joy in the doing. The body that resists the exercise at first soon fills with strength and energy. The mind that dreads discipline soon discovers the pride of mastery. Action not only creates results, it also reshapes your emotions. So, when weakness whispers, when excuses arise, when your feelings beg you to stop, remember this law. Your feelings will not matter tomorrow, but your results will matter forever. The world will not ask how you felt when you labored. It will only ask what you built, what you achieved, what you became. My friends, feelings are fleeting visitors. Do not let them rule the house of your life. Build instead upon the eternal foundation of action, for results will remain long after the storm of emotions has passed. Choose results over feelings, and you will carve your name upon the stones of history. My friends, men speak of freedom as if it were found in doing whatever one pleases, in chasing pleasure without restraint, in indulging every impulse that stirs within the heart. But this is not freedom. It is slavery. The man who obeys his every desire is a captive of his weakness. The woman who yields to every impulse is chained by her emotions. True freedom is not found in the absence of discipline. True freedom is born from it. The undisciplined life may appear easy, but it is the hardest life of all. It looks like liberty, but it is bondage in disguise. The man who refuses discipline in his spending becomes the servant of debt. The one who refuses discipline in his health becomes the captive of sickness. The one who refuses discipline in his time becomes the slave of regret. Every chain that binds humanity is forged from the lack of self-control. Discipline, however, is the master key that unlocks the gates of freedom. When you command yourself to rise early, when you force yourself to study when others play, when you hold yourself to a higher standard than those around you, you may feel the sting of sacrifice in the moment. But in exchange for that sacrifice, you inherit freedom, the freedom to live without debt, the freedom to enjoy health and strength, the freedom to command your time and bend life to your will. Think of the soldier. He drills when others sleep. He obeys when others argue. He disciplines his body, his mind, his very instincts. To the undisciplined man, this looks like imprisonment. But when the storm of battle arrives, who is free? The one who panics, who breaks, who flees? Or the soldier who, because of his discipline, can stand calmly and face the fire? Discipline grants him freedom where others are destroyed. Think of the musician. He spends years practicing scales, repeating exercises, enduring the grind of repetition while others mock him. It looks like chains. Yet when he lifts his instrument and pours forth music that moves nations, who is free? The man who cannot play a note, or the disciplined musician who commands beauty at will? What seemed like chains were wings in disguise. And think of the man who disciplines his thoughts. He does not allow every fear to control him, every doubt to linger, every worry to grow wild. He trains his mind to think on purpose, to focus, to believe, to direct itself toward achievement. At first, this takes effort. It feels like struggle. But what is the reward? Peace, clarity, the freedom to shape his destiny rather than be shaped by circumstance. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It is the declaration that your future deserves more loyalty than your comfort. When you discipline yourself, you are saying, "And I am worthy of greatness, and I will not betray myself by choosing what is easy over what is right." That is freedom, the freedom to live as you choose, not as your impulses dictate. Without discipline, men waste their lives. With discipline, men write their names upon the walls of history. Discipline is the architect of empires, the builder of fortunes, the sculptor of character. Every man who has ever risen from obscurity to greatness has done so by mastering himself first. For he who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers a city. You cannot escape discipline. If you refuse to discipline yourself, life will do it for you, and life's discipline is harsh. Neglect your body, and life disciplines you with pain. Neglect your work, and life disciplines you with poverty. Neglect your character, and life disciplines you with shame. Better to choose the discipline of self-command now than to endure the punishment of regret later. So, when your body cries for ease, when your mind longs for rest, when your desires scream for indulgence, remember this discipline is not your enemy. Discipline is your liberator. Every time you command yourself and obey, you are breaking the chains of weakness and forging the wings of freedom. My friends, discipline is the foundation. Upon it you may build wealth, wisdom, influence, peace, and happiness. Without it, whatever you build will collapse. For only the disciplined man is truly free, and only the free man can shape the destiny of his choice. My friends, there is a silent thief that robs more men of greatness than failure ever will. It does not strike with violence, nor announce its arrival with noise. It creeps in quietly, disguised as comfort, clothed in excuses, and it whispers to the heart, "Not today. Tomorrow will be better. You still have time." That thief is delay. And I tell you the truth, delay is the assassin of dreams. How many golden opportunities have been lost because a man said, "I will start next week"? How many visions have withered because their owner said, "I will prepare just a little longer before I begin"? How many lives lie wasted because men postponed the very actions that could have transformed them? Opportunity is like a sunrise. If you wait too long, you miss it. And once missed, it may never return. Do not mistake me. It is not failure that destroys most men. It is hesitation. Failure can be overcome. Hesitation leaves nothing to overcome because nothing was ever begun. The man who fails learns, adapts, and rises again. But the man who delays has no lesson, no growth, no progress. He remains trapped in the barren wasteland of someday. Think of the farmer who looks at his field and says, I will plant next season when conditions are better. Season after season he delays, while his neighbor plants in faith, harvests in diligence, and prospers in abundance. The man of delay starves. The soil did not reject him. The rain did not betray him. His own hesitation murdered his harvest. The same law governs your life. Your dream waits for no man. The book you postpone writing will not write itself. The business you delay starting will not appear by magic. The opportunity you hesitate to seize will be seized by another. Delay is a thief that works in silence, stealing not only your chances, but your years. And here lies the tragedy. Men who delay often comfort themselves with good intentions. They say, I will act when I have more money. I will begin when I have more time. I will try when I feel more ready. But conditions will never be perfect. Time will never be abundant. Readiness will never arrive. Life rewards the man who acts in the midst of imperfection, who begins before he is prepared, who dares while others delay. History remembers those who moved swiftly. Great leaders, inventors, and builders did not wait for permission. They acted. They forced themselves to begin when doubt surrounded them, when conditions were uncertain, when fear whispered in their ears. They understood that delay is death, but action is life. Look at your own life, my friend. How many times have you delayed? How many mornings did you say, tomorrow I will rise early, only to let tomorrow become next week, and next week become never? How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you told yourself, I will do it later? Every delay has a cost. You may not feel it today, but years from now you will pay with regret. Regret is the child of delay. It comes to every man who postpones his destiny. You will never regret acting boldly, even if you stumble. But you will always regret the chances you refuse to take. The pain of discipline is sharp, but brief. The pain of regret is dull, but it lasts a lifetime. So I say to you, strike now. Do not wait for courage. Action will create it. Do not wait for clarity. Movement will bring it. Do not wait for strength. Discipline will build it. Whatever you must do, do it today. Force yourself to begin now, for delay is not harmless, it is fatal. My friends, dreams die not because they are impossible, but because men murder them with hesitation. Do not join their ranks. Stand against delay as you would against any assassin. Guard your dream with urgency, defend it with action, and breathe life into it through decisive movement. For the man who delays loses everything, but the man who acts gains the world. My friends, the world is filled with men who wait for courage before they move. They say to themselves, when I feel brave, I will act. When I feel strong, I will take the leap. When I feel confident, I will begin. And so they wait. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and years into lifetimes. And what happens? The courage they waited for never comes, and the dreams they carried are buried with them in silence. Here is the great truth. Courage does not come before action. Courage is born in action. You do not act because you are brave. You become brave because you act. Every man who has ever achieved anything worth remembering acted in the presence of fear, not in its absence. Fear was there, doubt was there, trembling was there, but they moved anyway. Think of the child learning to swim. He trembles at the edge of the water. He imagines sinking. He fears drowning. He resists the plunge. But the moment he leaps in, the moment he begins to move his arms and kick his legs, he discovers that the water does not destroy him. It sustains him. Courage is born not on the shore, but in the plunge. So it is with your life. You will never feel ready. You will never feel certain. You will never feel fearless. But you must act. And in the very act of movement, you will awaken the courage you thought you lacked. Fear is a shadow. It grows larger when you run from it, but it shrinks when you walk toward it. The man who hides from his fear strengthens it. The man who faces it weakens it. Do not wait for fear to vanish. It never will. Instead, step forward while fear is still present. With each step, fear loses its grip, and courage takes its place. Look through history. The inventors who risked ridicule, the pioneers who crossed unknown seas, the leaders who stood before nations. They did not act because they felt ready. They acted in spite of uncertainty. And in that act, courage was born. The pilot who first flew into the skies was not without fear, but his action gave birth to courage that lifted mankind into the air. Even in your own life, recall the moments when you dared. Perhaps you spoke when your voice trembled, yet afterward you felt stronger. Perhaps you began a task that seemed impossible, yet as you worked, confidence rose within you. That strength did not precede your action, it followed it. It was created by it. Understand this eternal law. Action precedes courage, and courage multiplies through action. If you wait for courage before moving, you will wait forever. But if you move first, courage will come to your side as a faithful companion. Picture two men standing before a great mountain. One waits, saying, "I will climb when I feel strong enough." The other begins one step at a time, though he trembles. By the time the first man feels ready, years have passed, and the mountain still stands unconquered. But the second man, though afraid, is already standing at the summit, his fear left far below. Which one are you? The timid man waits for confidence. The man of destiny creates confidence through action. Confidence is not a gift from the heavens. It is a muscle, built by use. The first time you act, you may feel weak. The second time, stronger. The third time, unshakable. But you will never reach that third time unless you first dare in weakness. My friends, stop waiting for courage. Stop waiting for the right feeling, the perfect moment, the absence of fear. These will never arrive. Life rewards the one who acts in spite of fear, for only he discovers that courage was waiting for him on the path all along. Remember this, the graveyards are filled with men who waited for courage, but the pages of history are filled with men who acted without it. Act first, and courage will follow. Move now, and fear will flee. Begin today, and tomorrow you will stand not as a man who once trembled, but as a man who conquered. My friends, a single act of effort is like a spark in the night. It shines for a moment, then fades into darkness. One day of discipline, one burst of enthusiasm, one leap of courage may feel inspiring, but it is not enough to build greatness. Greatness is not won in a day. Greatness is forged by consistency, by the relentless repetition of action, day after day, until effort becomes power. Think of the hammer striking the stone. The first strike does not break it. The second strike shows no result. The third, the fourth, the 10th, still nothing. The casual observer walks away, saying, "It cannot be done." But the one who persists, who strikes again and again, who refuses to stop, at last the stone shatters. Was it the final blow that broke it? No, it was the accumulation of every strike before it. Such is the law of consistency. Small actions, multiplied over time, create unstoppable force. Many men fail not because they lack effort, but because they lack endurance. They start strong, but stop early. They try for a week, a month, perhaps even a year. But when results do not appear immediately, they abandon the path. They do not realize that the seeds they planted were still beneath the soil, preparing to break through. Consistency would have given them the harvest, but impatience left them with nothing. Consider the farmer. He does not sow once and expect a field of wheat the next morning. He sows, he waters, he tends, he waits. Every day small acts, every day faith in the unseen. And then, in due season, the harvest comes. Life itself operates by this law. Repeated effort brings reward. You cannot cheat this principle. You cannot sow today and reap tomorrow. You must sow daily, tend daily, labor daily. Only then will abundance appear. Look at the athlete. Muscles are not built in a single workout. Strength is not forged in one day of training. It is the repetition, the daily discipline, the sweat offered again and again, that transforms weakness into power. The undisciplined man goes to the gym once and complains of no change. The consistent man goes daily, and in time, his body becomes a fortress. Which man are you? Even in the realm of the mind, the same law applies. One book will not make you wise. One lesson will not make you masterful. One day of focus will not change your destiny. But daily learning, daily discipline, daily practice, these compound into mastery. Knowledge becomes understanding. Understanding becomes wisdom. Wisdom becomes power. Consistency is the multiplier of effort. A single act may seem small, but when repeated, it grows into something mighty. One drop of water is weak, but repeated drops carve canyons through stone. One swing of the axe may not fell the tree, but 100, 1,000 will bring down the mightiest oak. The power is not in the act alone, it is in the repetition of the act. And here is the secret: consistency is often dull. It does not always feel glorious. It rarely feels exciting. It is the quiet, invisible work that no one applauds. But while others chase quick victories, the consistent man builds an unshakable foundation. When storms come, his work stands. When time tests him, he endures. For consistency, though slow, is invincible. Ask yourself, do you want fleeting bursts of energy or lasting power? Do you want short-lived sparks or a fire that never dies? If you seek greatness, you must learn to show up daily, to labor when no one watches, to keep going when nothing seems to change. For every effort adds weight to your will, every repetition sharpens your edge, every day of discipline builds the momentum of destiny. My friends, talent is common, intelligence is common, even effort is common, but consistency is rare. That is why true greatness is rare. If you would rise above the masses, if you would command success, if you would build a life that endures, you must master the art of persistence. Remember, this laud effort once may inspire, but effort repeated creates power. Consistency transforms weakness into strength, discipline into habit, and habit into destiny. Be consistent, and nothing can resist you. Be inconsistent, and nothing will remember you. My friends, there is a law written into the very fabric of life. Destiny does not choose the man. The man chooses his destiny. Too often, people speak as though fate were a tyrant, controlling their every step, holding them prisoner to circumstance. They blame chance, they blame luck, they blame the stars above. But hear me clearly, life does not honor the idle dreamer. Life bows only to the man who dares to decide and act. Every man carries within him two possible futures, one of greatness and one of regret. These futures do not unfold by accident. They unfold according to the choices you make and the actions you take. A single decision can set you on a new path. A single act can change the direction of your entire life. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of fate. You are the architect, and your decisions are the bricks from which your destiny is built. The universe itself respects movement. Opportunities reveal themselves to the one who dares to act. Doors open to the man who knocks. Fortune favors the hand that reaches, the feet that walk, the will that presses forward. But to the man who sits idle, waiting for permission, waiting for certainty, waiting for guarantees, life offers nothing but decay. For hesitation is weakness, but decision is strength. Think of the explorer who set sail upon unknown waters. Did the ocean promise him safety? Did the winds guarantee success? No, but he decided, he acted, and because of that act, new worlds were discovered. Think of the inventor who risked ridicule, who worked in darkness, who dared to believe in his vision. Did society encourage him? No, they mocked him. But he decided, he acted, and because of that act, the world was transformed. So it will be with you. The moment you decide, with firmness and clarity, that you will no longer drift, that you will no longer delay, that you will no longer be ruled by fear. That moment, your destiny bends. Forces unseen align with the man of decision. Circumstances shift, opportunities appear, allies emerge, strength awakens within you. It seems as though the world itself rises to meet you, but in truth, it is not the world that changed. It is you. Indecision is death. A man who cannot decide is like a ship without a rudder, tossed endlessly upon the waves, moving everywhere yet arriving nowhere. But a man who decides and backs that decision with action becomes unstoppable. His steps may falter, his path may twist, but he moves forward, and forward movement always creates progress. Do not deceive yourself into believing that destiny is written in the stars. Destiny is written in your daily choices. Every day, you decide, will I rise or remain? Will I act or delay? Will I lead or follow? Will I build or dream? The sum of those decisions becomes your destiny. And here is the power you must never forget. Life bends to boldness. It does not reward hesitation. It does not honor indecision. It respects the man who decides with finality and then moves without retreat. The man who says, I will, and proves it with action, commands results. The man who says, I might, drifts into obscurity. My friends, the question is not whether destiny favors you, it is whether you will decide to act. The future waits for no man. It waits for no perfect moment, no convenient time, no easy path. It bows only to the one who claims it. So I say to you now, stop waiting for life to hand you a crown. Forge it with your own hands. Decide who you will be. Decide what you will do. Decide how far you will go. And then act, today, now, with all the strength of your will. For when you decide and act with unwavering resolve, destiny itself cannot resist you. Remember this truth: your destiny does not own you. You own it. And the moment you stand, the moment you move, the moment you act, life itself will bow to your command. My friends, you have now heard the 7 eternal truths that separate those who merely dream from those who achieve. You have learned that action is the bridge between imagination and reality, that feelings are fleeting but results endure, that discipline is the foundation of true freedom, that delay is the assassin of dreams, that courage is born in action, not before it that consistency transforms effort into power, and that destiny itself bows to the man who dares to decide and act. But what use are these truths if you do not rise and live them? What value are they if you leave this moment unchanged? Knowledge without action is a burden. Wisdom without practice is wasted. The world does not pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do. So I challenge you now, let this not be another moment of inspiration that fades with the day. Let this be the turning point of your life. Let this be the moment you choose to act, not tomorrow, not next week, not someday. Now, do not wait for courage. It will come when you move. Do not wait for certainty. Certainty is born in the doing. Do not wait for the perfect time. Time will never be perfect. Stand up. Command yourself. Force yourself to take action, even when you resist, even when you fear, even when you doubt. For every act of self-command is a step toward greatness, and every step forward weakens the chains that once held you. Remember this: the men who shaped history were no different than you. They doubted, they feared, they struggled. But they did one thing differently. They acted. And because they acted, the world remembers their names. The world is waiting for you to act. Your dream is waiting for you to act. Your destiny is waiting for you to act. Do not betray yourself with hesitation. Do not surrender to delay. Rise, move, act, and life itself will open its gates before you. Go now and force yourself into action, for the man who conquers hesitation conquers life itself.